Hello and welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. And welcome back, to Game Week review because the GVO show is on standby for now. Alfie couldn't make it due to personal reasons. We might have a guest on. That's why I have my headphones on like this. But for now, I just put my headphones on my bed. But yeah, this is just a normal Game Week review. But big up to everyone that came to subscribe from Lewis's channel from the earlier show of Capital Conflict. Oh shit, my mic is all the way. Sorry if you guys couldn't hear much of that, but big up to everyone as always. Make sure to like the video as well, and make sure to subscribe if you are new. We are on the road to 1K subscribers, people. Road to 1K. And we'll try to hit that as soon as possible. But yeah, also follow at GVO Mics on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. And yeah, let's just talk football again, man. We might have a guest coming on, we might not. We will see. But I thought I'd get this show on the road just quickly, just so I can, get the ball rolling. But yeah, obviously you guys have heard me talk enough about West Ham, Chelsea, even though that is in the title. We might talk about that a little bit later. But guys, according to Fabrizio Romano, Rodri is out until the end of the season, people. That is one of the biggest twists probably so far of the season. Like, I know it looked bad. I couldn't really tell if the injury was going to look, like kind of major when Rodri went down. At first, I thought he was just taking a piss, but the longer it went on, you're like, okay, this guy's actually injured. But we're going to see how City recover from that. But in my opinion, if you want my honest opinion, I think City have got all the alternatives to kind of carry themselves away from that, because they've got people like John Stones that can play there. They've got Rico Lewis that can play there. They've got Ilkay Gundogan, Mateo Kovacic, and Bernardo Silva just as a pivot. And to be honest, before Rodri, this was Rodri's first start of the season, and Man City was still winning games. Now, whether that's going to last, I don't know, because you also got to take into the context that Man City were struggling to play without Rodri before, but now they've kind of got all the midfield alternatives they have until like even the end of the season, let alone January, because I don't even think they're going to do anything in January. I know it makes sense to do something in January, and they've been linked to already Zubimendi and Guimaraes. I don't know whether the Zubimendi ones are crucial, whether it's just people speculating, but I know Liverpool fans are panicking. But also the Guimaraes links have come back. I don't see Newcastle selling him in January. And even if Man City wants them even in the summer, they're going to have to put a lot of money on the line and put a lot of money on the table for Newcastle to even be slightly tempted by it. So there's that as well. So that's why I think they're just going to make do with what they have. I don't even think they're going to recall Calvin Phillips. I think they're just going to, because they're not even going to play him. They'll recall Calvin Phillips and they just have him on a bench. So I can see Stones being in midfield. I can see Rico Lewis being in midfield. I just think they're going to play two in the middle. But it does make the title race a lot closer, because I do think even if both teams were fully fit, even if Erdegaard and Rodri were both fully fit for both sides, I still think that Man City would blaze away the league. I don't think Liverpool are in the title race. I think they're in a situation where they won't look like they're too far away from the title. Maybe it'll look like last year, where the coach currently gets the best out of their players, and then they eventually fall off. But with Arsenal and Man City, it might go to the wire, but not to the wire of last season. I don't think it's going to go to a situation where right at the end of the season, we're looking at the last fixtures, whoever Man City and Arsenal have on the last day, and we're not, and it's going to be decided between them. I don't think that. But I do think it's going to be a lot closer than I thought it was going to be at the start of the season. And I thought it'd be close, but I still think it would have looked convincing for Man City. And this is the first time that Man City have dropped points. Well, this is the first time both teams no, Arsenal drew to Brighton. But it's the first time Man City dropped points all season. They'll see it as 2 points dropped regardless of them being relieved that it was a draw. They're not going to see it as 1 point gained. It's just the difference is between Arsenal and Manchester City getting an injury, for example, is Man City won't panic because of the players they have, whereas Arsenal will, because they haven't set themselves up like ready enough in a transfer window, as they never really do under this ownership. But they gaslight, as we talked about on Lewis's channel earlier, they gaslight themselves into thinking that they have, and they gaslight other fans into thinking that they have as well. So that's the thing with that. Like with Arsenal having Odegaard injured, they were looking at Trossard and Havertz as alternatives for the number 10. And even though I think Trossard should really be playing false nine if he's going to play anywhere, um, with Havertz, they're kind of using him as some Andy Carroll regen. They're kind of panicking. They're kind of looking at alternatives, but kind of scrambling for alternatives at the same time when they're looking at what's it called? They're looking at alternatives to fill in Odegaard's position because Odegaard's one of the most crucial players towards Arsenal. Like I was saying this earlier on Lewis's Shadow, like what happens when a team is sitting back and they've gone and open up a team without Odegaard? Like what do they do? Like they'll probably still win the game. They've got Leicester this weekend. Leicester have a fragile defense, so they'll probably find it easy to break them down. But they might be passing it around sideways a lot just because they won't be able to break a team down. They're going to have the ball. It's not going to be them sitting back, and they're going to be ones that are going to have to create. They're going to have to rely on Saka or just the wingers in general for 1v1 situations to create something. That's where you look to Raheem Sterling and you think, okay, this guy, he's a bit chaotic and he does take too much time with the ball. But you kind of look at him more so than anyone else thinking, okay, he could do something around here. He could do something. Like he can create chaos. He could create opportunities and create an opening for himself and for the team in general because, you know, he's just that kind of person. You never know as well. He can get into one of those situations where he can be really effective 1v1 as well. So, big up to Fuego as always, bro. Hope you're doing well, my guy. But we're going to see how Arsenal deal with that as an alternative for Odegaard for now because they've got the 3 games out of the way. The 3 games are hell and they haven't lost. So they can look at that as a positive. But we're also going to see what Man City deal with when it comes to Rodri because I think they'll win at Newcastle. I've not really been impressed with Newcastle all season. I know they only just took their first loss against Fulham, but I haven't really been impressed with them in terms of their performances. I think City will be fine. Don't get me wrong, do I think it's going to be easy? No. But sometimes you might look at City and maybe they're going to play a lot more free-flowing with the ball. But the only criticism I will say is that in the games that Rodri didn't play for Man City, you would say they still look susceptible and like when trying to defend a counter-attack. And teams are going to obviously sit back and try to hit them on the counter like every team does. And to be fair, we saw Newcastle do that to them last season where they went 2-1 up at the end. Obviously, City went 1-0 up and then Newcastle scored 2 goals. Then Newcastle bottled it. That's what happened at St. James's Park last season. And you have a feeling with Harvey Barnes and Anthony Gordon, let's say Isak as well. We'll see how the midfield does on the day. That could affect City. It could. Don't get me wrong, it could affect City. But you almost think they're not going to panic. And they have had times before where their back has been against the wall in title situations. And you just think, okay, they'll get over the line. That's what I think is going to happen with City now. I still think they're going to win the league. Like, for me, it's going to take an injury crisis for either team to be completely out of the title race, in my opinion. Like, even with Odegaard injured, I wasn't saying Arsenal out of the title race. I still thought they'd beat Tottenham. There was parts of me that thought maybe a draw, but I thought I had a feeling they'd beat Tottenham. So it is what it is when it comes to that. But also, when it comes to like the title race in general, this is the thing. It's not really about who starts well and who starts on the front foot in terms of trying to put their foot on the league straight away. It's more so who kind of finishes well. Because we've seen, like, even if you was to look at last season, for example, Man City and Arsenal, you'd think that they both started kind of badly, you know, for their standards, for example. However, both teams ended off on a high note. Like Arsenal had that amazing away record and it got better and better from January to May. And Man City, I don't think lost a game. I don't think they've lost a game this year in terms of the Premier League. I could be wrong, but I don't think they've lost a game in this calendar year, whereas Arsenal have only lost 1. So that's when it came to fine margins in the end. But that's judging it from January to May. When we're looking at earlier in the season, Arsenal lost 4 games, I think it was. Man City, no. Aston Villa, West Ham, Fulham, and Newcastle. So they lost 4 games like before January. I don't think Arsenal are going to do that again. God knows whether Man City can stay unbeaten. The thing is, neither of them look like they can be beat right now. That's what's curious to see because it's going to be a team that we don't expect as well. It's going to be one of them games where you think, okay, they'll get over the line, and all of a sudden they don't. And it's mainly for me because Man City's firepower and Arsenal's defense. It's just one of the fact that maybe Arsenal might pick up maybe one too many draws this season because of their tight defense. They won't be got at as much, but they'll have a lack of scoring goals. Their attack is still questionable. When you take Odegaard out of the picture, it just looks worse. It looks worse because he's the creator of the team. He's the guy that's going to put passes on a plate for everyone. It's one of the players where he can make a little bit of magic out of something, even though he needs to step up in some games where you watch him play. There's not really another passer in that team. There's not really another like midfielder in that team that can pass from them kind of positions, like trying to just slot people through, which is kind of showing how underprepared Arsenal will come about in this transfer window in general. Because, like, when you look at Arsenal, you think they've got good players, they're hard to beat, but it's just when it comes to their attackers, 1v1, taking shots. You wonder if they're really going to affect, the keeper in the end. Would you take Potter or Terzic? Do you know what it is? I'll be real with you, yeah? I think if we got either of them, as, like, let's say Lopetegui got sacked and we was to hire one of them, I think I wouldn't. You'd like a lot of people are going to think that it's Sullivan picking the managers again because they're free agents, and we're not paying compensation for a good manager again. I think Potter could get something out of us. I'm not sure about Terzic. I don't think we have enough of a. I don't know what the word is. I forgot what the word is, but I don't think we have enough of a scale from his career to pick out whether he can do a good job or not. I know he's been at the club before. My problem is a lot of people are going to advocate for him because he knows the club and all that, but he was there for like a year or a two under Bilic. But Potter, I think he'd do okay. I'm not sure whether he's the level manager that can match up to the likes of Unai. I'm using Unai Emery as an example, where my thing is with the managerial appointment, what we needed was a manager that was just as good at coaching a team instantly as an Unai Emery, where we could look at, the team and be like, okay, he could coach something more out of players and get us into Europe straight away. We have like a top 4 level manager like Villa do. I'm not sure Potter's that guy. I think Potter's a good coach, but I'm not sure if he can take us to the highest yet because, again, it's very hard to judge him because he did a great job at Brighton. He was onto something that De Zerbi kind of took over and changed it up a bit, but then he went to Chelsea and it was kind of hard for him to do anything at Chelsea. However, at the same time, it might just be, the pressure of being at a club like Chelsea. I don't think he'd do a bad job. I think I've said before that I'd take him before, and I think he's someone where I would trust a lot more with the football because I feel like I know what I'm going to get. I do feel like he makes a lot of weird decisions when it comes to playing players in certain positions, but it worked at Brighton, so you'd like to think it'd work at West Ham as well. He doesn't really have any excuses because of the director of football, but if Steiner was really picking the managers, I do wonder if Graham Potter would be hired. But that's just me personally. Like, I have no clue who I'd want as manager. Like, I don't know. Like, it's very unreal. It's very it's very hard to look at. The reason why it's very hard to look at is because there's a lot of managers out there that are on contracts from other clubs, and you think, would we pay the compensation for us to do that? Probably not. But that's what we need to do if we want to show levels. If we want to show levels, that's exactly what we need to do is pay compensation for a big manager that's going to match up to the levels of the Premier League and that's going to, implement a style of football without a pre-season as well. It's the ability to implement a style of football without a pre-season, then I'm here for it. I'm fully here for that, for sure. Like, that's my thing with it. Because our standard should be Europe anyway. In my opinion, our standard should be Europe. Like, that was the standard from last season. People would be like, well, you were close to Europe. But I said from from the very start of the season that last season was sustainable for us to get Europe, and we were living a lot off our run from September to December or August to December, whatever, and even that was patchy. We still had the games against Brentford and Fulham and Aston Villa where we were patchy. Big up, bro. How can West Ham regress from Moyes? I don't even know if it's regressing. I think it's just literally gone like this, bro. Just stalemate. I think we're stalemated. It's pretty much the same as last season, but with a different cloth. And what I mean that is like it's just as mediocre, but with a different style of play. Like the standards are low. The standards are low. Like I keep the standards up and I keep my expectations low. And what I mean by that is I demand a lot for the club, but I know the club's not going to do it. It's a bit like most people on YouTube that get called negative. Now I am negative about West Ham. Do something about it. Because I'm always going to be negative about this club until I see change. Until I see what I want to see. Which is constantly competing for Europe. And I'm not actually asking for much. I'm not. Because if Villa could do it, we could do it. And you like to think that, listen, Villa have a better squad. But you'd like to think there's a coach that can over-exceed with the players that they have. If Eddie Howe can get the top four with that Newcastle side that he did a couple of seasons ago, then West Ham can surely get a manager that can get them top four with the squad that they have. So for me, it's not... And to get into top four, you don't even have to be that consistent either. Like, we've seen many top four battles in the past where teams are going like this. They go like this constantly because they're constantly battling with each other. And once you lose, you drop down to fifth, and then you can win the next game week and you can finish fourth again. Mike, in my opinion, West Ham looked open, in my opinion. Bowen and Kudus, only good players. Kudus has probably been one of the few players that have performed well, but he's been played out of position. I wouldn't say Kudus and Bowen are only good players in general. We've got a lot of good players, but we do look very open. But that's down to the manager, the way he sets up. And it's okay to play high up the pitch and look open if you've got, the attack. If you're coaching the attack properly to put goals away. But if we're getting battered higher up the pitch with this manager, and we're getting battered playing deep with the previous manager, then it's the manager's problem. People are going to be like, "Oh, well, two managers have done shit. That means there's a bigger issue at West Ham." No, it's not. It just means that in this situation, two managers have failed in this era of West Ham. And what I mean by failed, I don't mean Moyes has failed overall in his era. I just mean that Moyes failed, especially in his last season at West Ham. I'm not expecting. It's not who we are. I get when people say, what's it called? Are you West Ham? What do you expect? I expect my club to keep trying to progress as a club. That's what I expect. As I said on Lewis's channel, move different stadiums to compete for Europe. And Moyes did that. But guess what? Moyes was falling off. I don't even want to be talking about the previous regime in this season. That's what I didn't want to be talking about. But it's the only direct comparison I can make. And I don't think this manager's built for that either. That's why I'm keeping the same energy with two individual managers. Big up to Charlie as well, bro. Hope you are doing well. Like Ange said. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I just hope for more. And I demand more because there's no point as any sort of club where you're in a comfortable position financially and at a sustainable part of being a team in the Premier League to not try and go for more and try and challenge yourself and try to over-exceed or what people would demand or what people would look at from a neutral standpoint as overachieving. However, I don't look at it as overachieving. I just look at it as what you're meant to do. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. But yeah, like Anne said, Paquetá still got the juice. Not from last game. He hasn't started the season well. He came on against Fulham and made some form of impact by just being a natural number 10. But that's where I leave it as that. I honestly don't know what's going on with Lucas Paquetá. I would love to know. But yeah. David, bro. I need to call you out on this, my guy. A few days ago, It was you. Yeah, it was you. You said that I didn't. What was the video, bro? I need you to address two things of your comment the other day. That I dug out my subscribers, and that I didn't leave comments. I didn't allow people to leave comments on the video because I've tried checking from a different account, and I wouldn't purposely not let people leave comments. So I need you now that you're here to address that because I made you a mod, bro, and then a few days later I get that comment from you. So I'm really curious as to why you said that because I don't remember digging out my subscribers, and that's something I would never do. So, Mike, what made you Lopetegui out? Basically, what made me Lopetegui out is the constant bad team selections was the main thing, and that's that. To be honest, it's the same as what was made from Moyes. Like when I was originally Moyes out, it was from a bad team selection and a constant favoritism towards certain players and not having the ability to change the issue with your team selection. And I think once you constantly play a team that doesn't work and then not change it, there you are. And I think that's the same with Lopetegui. Is his decisions don't make any sense. What's it called? When he makes rash and unfiltered decisions, what he does is he doesn't follow up on it. So let me give you an example. Fulham versus West Ham, Souček and Antonio are struggling. They come off for 45 minutes, they get hooked off, stinker and hooked. But they also are allowed to get minutes in the next game as substitutions. So Danny Ings scored a goal against Fulham. Antonio came off and had a stinker. But Antonio gets another chance to come on against Chelsea. Listen, we were 3-0 down, whatever. But for Somerville, by the way, one of the better players on the pitch. Again, favoritism. The guy doesn't like Somerville. And Danny Ings doesn't get a minute, even though he was the one that came on and scored. And listen, I wanted Bowen up front, yes. I will happily admit I wanted Bowen up front for one game, but I also maintained throughout the whole time that Jared Bowen isn't a striker. So when you saw Jared Bowen create from the right-hand side to Danny Ings for that Fulham goal, that's a man who's playing on the right, providing for another striker. So you're playing players in their right positions when it suits you. But when it goes to the next game, it goes back to type. It's back to type. And that's the thing with Lopetegui is that none of his decisions make any sense. The way he sets up changes every time, and not in terms of playing higher up the pitch, but the way we are organised and arranged off the ball. So against Chelsea, we were man marking a lot. Against Aston Villa, it was 5 at the back. Like it's a constant variation of 3 at the back, and just in different ways. And sometimes it comes off, sometimes it doesn't. But you were meant to be a team that can coach and attack, but the only times we're scoring against teams is hitting teams on transitions and capitalizing on other teams leaving space rather than opening teams up. We haven't opened one team up that we've played so far. You've only ever shouted me out when you see me in other chat streams. I think I shouted you out on Shameless, wasn't it? That's the thing. Like, David, I still haven't got a response from you. So I'm going to need a response. When did I call out my subscribers and when did I not leave comments? Because otherwise you just lied. That's what, like, and because you're a regular on the channel in the comments, it really confused me because I don't remember digging out anyone. The only time I remember, the closest thing I tried to remember that anyone said or what I said was on the What We Learned from Fulham videos. Like, I'm not trying to hear any more defense of Souček. I'm not even going to try to argue it or something like that. I think I said something like that, but that was the closest thing I can think of to stop trying to defend this guy and all this. But I don't remember digging out any of my subscribers. Don't record a video, but it was the same day I commented. I definitely couldn't comment on the actual video. That's what I did on the following video. Not sure if you was in a bad mood. I'm not a liar. But I need to know what I said, bro. I need to know what I said. Because, listen, if I generally did say something and you're not lying, then I'll apologize, but I don't remember digging out anyone. So if you couldn't comment on the thing, I don't know whether that was good, because I tried going on another account. I went on the videos and I could comment on it. So I'm trying to scroll through back my mentions. Commented here about your last video. That was 6 days ago. And that was on the same day as the GVO show from last week. No, but I need to ask you, and I need to ask you what I said. I need to ask you, what did I say? And then I can take accountability for it, David. So if you're not lying, then I can apologize to you, and I can apologize to everyone else. But I don't remember digging out my subscribers, bro. But on the same day when you commented, that was the day after the Fulham West Ham United things we learned video. So I'm trying to think if I said anything in that. I obviously can't remember everything I've recorded, but was the tone not so much the words? Again, I'm gonna have to. I can't remember whether my tone was off or whatever. But listen, all right. Let me address this then. Let me address this. Let me say it like this. Shit, I dropped my phone. Hold on, give me a sec. Let me address it like this then. When I'm in a bad mood or in a bad mood, it's usually about this club. It's nothing towards the subscribers of the video. No, I'm just addressing it because I haven't been able to, like, you know, do whatever. But you called me out. I'm not trying to be over dramatic, but then, I can address it and be accountable with it. You know what I mean? But yeah, whenever I'm angry, it's usually about this club. I don't mean to, go at any of the subscribers. So if it was a bad tone and I offended anyone else, then my bad. But that wasn't my intention. So we'll leave it there. But yeah, this is the thing with the manager. Like, I'm not sure he can turn it around. That's my thing. Like, and he hasn't really proven anything for me to turn it around. I can't remember which account this was because otherwise I called them out. But someone said 10 to 15 games for you to look at someone's style of football. I addressed this on Lewis's shadow again earlier. Like, you can think of quite a few managers to, look at that and think, well, they didn't need 5 games. They didn't need 5 games. They didn't need 5 games to implement a system. We literally came up against the Chelsea team that didn't need more than 5 games to implement a system. Maresca, in fact, implement the exact same system as he did for Leicester as a Leicester City manager. That's my thing. We literally, so how can we use the excuse of what's it called? Not being able to implement a style of play when both of them had a pre-season. He's had his own players. He clearly had a vision of what he wanted to do with the team before he came into it. And clearly the difference is coaching. That's my problem. But let me know if you guys disagree. And we can see what happens from there. Because that's what I don't get. I don't know. He's out of his depth. He's under pressure from the fans and is wilting already. That's the thing as well. Like, I said this again earlier. Is he losing is he like on the way to losing players after scapegoating Rodriguez? Is he on the way to losing fans after subbing off Somerville and the whole crowd booed? I was there. The whole crowd booed. Big up Mike's, by the way. What is West Ham's style of play? At this current moment in the time, mate, it is playing high up the pitch, leaving it very gappy at the back. The thing is, I had more confidence in the way we defended, but it's just the way we were structured in the first couple of games. I thought, okay, we can defend quite well. It's just, mistakes. But it seems to be a lot of passing short and a lot of players coming short for the ball, but not a lot of proper attacking movement. So yeah. But I have no idea at this current moment in time. Klopp, Maresca had around the same time, or Arne Slot. Yeah, that's the thing. Arne Slot that's another man. Like, he has better players. Don't get me wrong, but these are players that were so used to a different style of play as well. Like, they were so used to a Klopp style of play. But you could argue that it's not too indifferent. Like, it's not completely different, but Arnie Slot came in and he's got the players playing his way. Is it going to take time for him? Yes. Do they have better players? Yes. But that's just an example. The guy signed one outfield player and he's not playing because he's going to be a squad player. Because they already set on Diaz and Salah being their main wingers. So Chiesa ain't going to even play that much. So it's not even like he has to get these bunch of new players with him and integrate them like that, like our manager has. He hasn't had transfers. So whether that's an advantage or a disadvantage, let me know what you guys think of that. Is it more of an advantage just inherit the squad that he had? Because if Lopetegui had the squad he had without the transfers, what's it called? Without the transfers, and we had the squad from last year, I think we'd be doing much worse. Like, I don't read on Twitter anymore. This is the thing. Like he is top 3 West Ham managers that I can think of, but I'm like I said the same thing with Antonio. You could do a lot for the club and then fall off. I said the same with David Moyes. Like my frustration went from the end of 2022, where you've done a lot for the club, but you can be like, okay, I've done a lot for the club, and now I'm falling off. And as I said earlier, the squad got better, and he got worse and worse with West Ham United because he wanted to change the style of play. There's not much defense you can put on it. It's just people are arguing out of emotion. And don't get me wrong, this is coming from me, the guy who gets angry a lot. But that's my thing with it. Just seeing it for what it is. That's why I'm keeping the same energy with this manager. In fact, I'm probably being slightly harsher on this manager than I am with the previous manager, because the previous manager had years with the club. This manager's had 5 games of league games, but I've seen enough in my opinion. But at least they showed progress and you could see the intentions. What with the previous managers that I mentioned, yeah, that's the thing. You can still see like the likes of like Maresca, for example. He's coming and the squad is settled. Like, and to be honest, I kind of knew that was going to happen. I just thought Chelsea would, take a bit more time, I don't know whether they're going to get top 4 now. I think they'll be the top 4 race. I originally had them 4th, and then I changed it to 6th in my predictions. That's the thing with Chelsea. I thought they would go to like a couple away days and be like, they struggle on those away days. They've actually won all their away games, and they haven't won a home game yet. They've only had 2, to be fair. With Arnie Slot, apart from the Forest game, it's like Liverpool are just nothing's really changed, and it's just coaching that's really taken a part of it. What else? Who else has come in? Like, the thing is with the Brighton manager, Herzl has done well since he come in. I don't think Brighton looked the greatest, but they kind of already have that structure in place where, like, when a manager gets hired, they're already going to think of the next manager coming in. So it kind of is like, it's very fitting for one manager to come in, one manager to come out. So it is what it is. But I think Chelsea finish above Arsenal. Really? I think Chelsea finish above Arsenal. That's interesting. I don't know whether the defense is as settled yet. The defense is improving, don't get me wrong, like Cole and Fofana, and they're gelling together. Their right back situation, we're going to see on a right back situation as well. But I just think they're not there yet. I think they could get there though. Honestly, bro, I've gone probably like since I've been on YouTube. This is my 3rd year of doing YouTube. I've been doing YouTube since 2021. I think I've got every prediction wrong, like ever. I think in all my time predicting teams, I think I've got like in total five correct places in every season. So honestly, my predictions are fucking terrible. But the thing is with Forest, and I said this in my analysis of Forest as well, because a lot of Forest fans left hate comments. You could go back on that video. A lot of Forest fans left a lot of hate comments because they were triggered. The reason why I predicted them to finish in a relegation battle, and listen, it looks like I'm going to miss with the Brentford one as well, is because I thought Southampton would do so much better in terms of the transfer window, in terms of getting defenders and stuff, because that's what they needed. And it was more for trying to go for something unpopular. But it looks fucked now. Like, it looks so fucked. The only thing going for Arsenal is their defense. I can see them getting a lot of draws and not wins this year. I'm very curious to see that because I had that feeling in the back of my head, but I didn't know if I was being too biased because their defense is sick, but I feel like they always seem to try and get over the line when they're chasing games, and I just think there's too many fragile defenses in the Premier League for the likes of Saka and Sterling if he plays, or even even Martinelli, to not score goals. Even Havertz, like I don't rate Havertz, but he's still probably good enough in a sense to score against Leicester, for example. Sorry, let me go into a comment in a minute, Charlie. I also think City will run off with the title now. They probably have more motivation to as well, in my opinion. I think the Rodri thing, you can almost see them spur on their spirit. Thoughts on Morgan Gibbs' white red card? Oh, like I remember that game, by the way, was so entertaining. Brighton Forest. I had a feeling that would be a good game, but in my opinion, it was bullshit. I don't think he should have got the red card. I don't think. I think he got enough of the ball. I don't think that was a deserved red. And the fact there was Anthony Taylor that gave it says a lot because it's Anthony Taylor. Because he was the assistant referee. The what's it called? The fourth official. And the fact that he gave it says a lot about Anthony Taylor in itself. It says a lot about the decision because that was bullshit. I don't think Forest did like do you know what it is as well? Forest actually was started off so well in that game. Brighton came back. They got into the thick of things. And then Brighton started off in the second half really well. But Nuno has something where he has coached that team into attacking space so well on a transition on the counter, where Hudson-Odoi has found a new lease of life. And I've kind of slightly always rated him. But he did need to leave Chelsea at the time because he was underperforming and stuff. But that team, if they could get a Woyoni fit and just add that to their attack, they could finish in the top 10, in my opinion. 5 games in and their top scorer is Gabriel. That's true. That's true. I think I don't like as much as I mentioned about Havertz earlier. I don't think Havertz is gonna, get the goals he did last season because we know about his purple patches historically. Big up to Ryan, bro. Hope you're doing well, my guy. Hope you're doing well. City game gonna give Arsenal a full sense of where they are at. Joe, I can see where you're coming from with that as well because their defense is sick, yeah. But I've said this. Like, do you know when they're coming up against Leicester this weekend? Leicester are going to sit off them. How are they going to do without Odegaard trying to open up another team? Open up another team that's going to sit on the edge of their box. Now, Leicester don't have a good defense. They haven't even won a game yet, and Arsenal probably still will win that game. But it's not going to look convincing where you look at Arsenal and you think, okay, you don't look convincing in general. Have you got enough ammunition to win the league? Where the difference is with Man City, even though we could question someone like a Doku and a Grealish on a wing, even though Grealish did make an impact when he came on, and Doku did well in the first half, like a little bit, even though he was still frustrating. They can still have Oscar Bob to come back whenever, or play Foden there, or play Silva on the wing. They've got Savio and they've got Erling Haaland. And the thing is that Erling Haaland factor just stands out so well when it comes to, just the factor of who's going to win the Premier League in general. Because the most important thing is goal scorers. Goal scorers. How many goals are you going to score to win yourself a league? There's only so much that defense can do because Arsenal aren't going to get 3 points by drawing 0-0 and 1-1 on all the time. Their first goal against City was dodgy from the ref, calling Walker well out of position and then letting Arsenal take a quick free kick. Then I thought their second goal was a foul on Edison. I didn't think it was a foul on Edison, and listen, to be honest, I also thought that Kyle Walker could have ran, But my thing is, with all of that as well, is that Arsenal scored a long shot and a corner. A long shot and a corner. So I don't think they're going to score many goals. Because, your only ways of scoring was a very, very good long shot from a centre-back that isn't going to get into those positions very often and probably isn't going to play week in, week out in Calafiori. And also corners where are corners really the only way you're going to score? Like, you can probably do that in the KG games. You could probably do that in the Big Six games. But when teams are sitting off you and you need to create something. Like, we haven't seen much from Saka for a couple games. Like, past couple games, Saka's been underperforming. Martinelli has a workhorse off the ball and running like a headless chicken. But the guy hasn't affected the game as a winger. We saw that, like, if you guys watch the Atalanta game, that guy was missing chances for fun as well, and it was just so confusing to how this guy's still starting in the starting 11. But he seems to be a favorite from Arteta. It doesn't seem that Arsenal are gonna, what's it called? They're gonna drop him anytime soon. So there's also that. There's also that as well. So we're gonna see whether, just fold in the end. Like what? Like are we? I feel like Arsenal are gonna try and stick it out for as much as possible, and then they do their eventual fall off around March. I'd say. I think I'm gonna predict their fall off to be around March because it's usually the back end of the season when they don't do well, even though they actually did better in the first half of the season. I mean, worse in the first half of the season than they did in the second half of the season, where they lost 4 games. But they were experimenting way too much. Cauliflower and Timber don't look they'll be able to play a lot of games either, as both went down injured yesterday. Yeah, that's the thing as well. And I realize I've said the phrase "that's the thing" as well quite a lot on my YouTube channel, but they won't be able to settle with the fullbacks they have. I think they'd just get Ben White back in. I know Ben White hasn't been outstanding so far, but I think Ben White should be starting. I think the guy, in terms of all the Arsenal players, he kind of plays an underrated role in possession. In terms of their left back situation, you still kind of put a question mark on it because you wonder if Timber and Calafiori are going to be judged properly. Good merch slogan. But God, I probably will never release merch, but I could probably have ideas of releasing merch with the amount of phrases I repeat on this channel. But with their defense as well, I'm looking at Timber and Calafiori, and I'm looking at Arteta with this situation. What I think one of Arteta's biggest weaknesses is managing minutes from players. I don't think he's good at managing minutes in terms of player management. I think he maybe gives players maybe too much game time, and I don't think he's good at rotating players around certain positions. That's my problem. Ben White is going to get that Ramsdale treatment if they stay fit. Yeah, maybe. I don't think he deserves the Ramsdale treatment though, because I actually understood the Ramsdale decision because I rated David Raya. He just had a bad start because he wasn't good under pressure for the club he was at that current moment in time. But I understood it at least. However, with Ben White, I don't think he was ever a problem. But I just think he was probably dropped for that game due to match up with Doku, even though I think Ben White would have pocketed Doku. I think the whole section should be dedicated to Ryan Gravenberch. Ryan Gravenberch is doing very well, man. I don't know if we'll dedicate a whole section on him, but honestly, if he keeps going the way he is, he's going to make most people's team of the seasons. Speaking of people that might make most people's team of the seasons, did you see Dibbling score again? He's having a breakthrough season, and that's the thing as well. Yeah, he hasn't got a big squad either. And that's the problem with Arsenal. They don't recruit well. They don't recruit properly. But Tyler Dibbling, that's someone you need to watch out for the Premier League. And the thing is, I even saw online a lot of Southampton fans were talking about play Tyler Dibbling. So they knew this was coming. They knew how good he was already because they probably watched, the youth games and think this guy's too good for youth football. The guy could be the catalyst to either trying to keep Southampton up and trying to drag them there, or just having a breakthrough of his own and just, getting a big move for himself. You can tell that this guy's going to go for 50 million straight away because he's had one good season. And I don't hope the pressure just doesn't get straight to him. But he's just one of them players where a big club is going to look at him and just throw a load of money at him. In my opinion, I think if Southampton were to get relegated, he should stay still and just take his time with his career because the guy's 18 and have a good season in the Championship and stand out. And if Southampton don't succeed from there, then you go to a big club because he's got so much time on his hands. Just take your time with your career path, or you go to a mid-table Premier League team at best. Whoever's finishes mid-table at the time, maybe even come to West Ham. But he's a really good player. He's a really good player. And Southampton fans have been begging to start him for a while. And also, Lallana's good player. That assist from Lallana was beautiful. Not many people are talking about that. But that is Adam Lallana at his best. And the guy's old now, so he's probably not going to play as much. But they've got good midfield options. It's just the striking options and centre-back options that are going to really let Southampton down this season. I would take Ben White at Chelsea on the low. Listen, exactly. Ben White's a good player. I would happily take him at West Ham. Also got hooked against the Manx. I watched that game as well. He didn't deserve to be hooked. The problem was the midfield was looking way unbalanced, and everyone thought, okay, Daichi Kamada's going to come off. I don't know what Glasner's obsession has been so far this season. We're playing Kamada at certain times in deeper roles. But Kamada should have either come off or been played higher up the pitch. What I didn't get about that game as well, all the subs in that game confused me from both teams, whether it was Crystal Palace or Manchester United, where Manchester United took Xerxes off for Rashford for whatever reason. Xerxes was probably one of their better players, in my opinion. With what's it called? Crystal Palace. They put Ismaila Sarr on for Mateta, but they played Sarr up front and Nketiah behind Sarr. So they played Nketiah in a 10 and Sarr up front. I didn't get that. And then Kamada was playing in a pivot with Lerma. Lerma's a good player, but I think it should be Wharton and Lerma if Decore is not fit for Palace. That's a great midfield. Wharton didn't deserve to come off. He wasn't even having a bad game. So I don't know what Glasner was doing there, but I don't know. I wouldn't take Ben White. I can't stand that sunbed merchant. No, if it's just for his suntan, I hear you. I fully hear you. The game of all games on Wednesday night, Mike's lad. Maybe it's going to be the easiest game you have played all season. Even I know you said to me that like you're probably going to rotate, but it's not going to matter. It won't matter, bro. I've watched this team play well at Anfield with like more cohesive West Ham sides against worse Liverpool sides, and Liverpool still win games. Like you're going to win the game regardless. I think Lopetegui's also going to throw the cup out the window for whatever reason. Not that he can afford to, by the way. But yeah, we're going to get absolutely spliffed. If the chance is like 1%, then I hear you. Anything more than 1%, I'm going to have to disagree there because I don't think we have a chance really. But you could play your under 18s and I think you'd beat us still. And that's just me being real. We can't score in a brothel, mate. Liverpool going to put us in a spliff. I agree. We're getting straight in the bin. It's just going to get more and more toxic because we've got Liverpool away, then we've got Brentford away, and I'm scared of Brentford away as well because when do we win at Brentford away? In the FA Cup or in pre-season? Brentford away. That is long. I don't care if they've lost their last 2 games. I don't care. They're still going to beat us. Brian and Boomer against West Ham. That's fucking cash money, bruv. You'll be playing against Endo in midfield, and he'll be playing against Thomas Suchek. So Endo's better than Suchek. We'll sit on the halfway line and won't adjust until we are 3-0 down. Probably. We probably won't even adjust. And Boomer's going to fuck us up. Oh, for sure. What do you think Lopetegui can do to improve things? Leave. He can leave. Leave or play the players in the right positions that we've been screaming the whole time. Or just leave the club. Leave. He either leaves or plays the players in the right positions. That's my thing. So Kudus plays in a 10, right wing. I know a lot of you are probably sick of me saying it, but I'm sick of fucking watching it. I'm sick of watching Kudus on the left. I'm fucking tired of it. And I'll rant about it until it gets changed. Because he played on the right originally, then Somerville came off for Antonio for whatever reason, then Kudus was pushed back to the left-hand side. I don't know. Carlos Soler needs to play. So, bench Paquetá. Bench Rodriguez. Get me Alvarez and Soler in midfield with Kudus in front. Get me Somerville on the left. Ings or Fulcrook up front. Yes, I'm calling for Danny Ings to start in fucking 2024 and Jared Bowen on the right. Get me Todibo in centre back and keep the rest of the back 4. That should be the starting 11. And obviously Areola in goal. If we don't see that, we are fucked. We're fucked. You've got all these players, but you don't know how to use it. That's my problem, like. L-like mobility. Wednesday. Oh, man. His hair is thinner. His hair is thinner than some of those birds on Britain's Next Top Model. Hey, I can't lie, yeah. Bruv, he needs to brush his fucking trim. Last season when we beat you in the cup, that was one of our best performances of the season. And can I even say it was one of our worst when there was so many to pick from last season. To be honest, when I look at performances from our perspective from last season, I could probably think of like 3 where we were like really, really good. Like Brighton away. Okay, Chelsea at home when we had 10 men, but that was like 10 minutes or 20 minutes. Arsenal away, kind of. Tottenham away where we defended well. We got lucky with the goals, but you make your own luck in football, in my opinion. Oh, who else did we perform well against? We didn't perform well against anyone else last season. I can't think of another good performance from last season. But that's just my thing. Bro, I can't lie. Wait, hold on. Somerville, Burn, right wing. That's all. But that's all. Apart from Maverick Panos right back. Wait, are we? What? How many players are you playing? Oh, Maverick Panos slash the Debo. I need to see Tadibo. I need to see Tadibo. I don't want to see Maverick Panos anymore. And I can't lie. Antonio needs to get dropped. Like, I've seen enough. I've seen enough this season. I love Antonio, but I can say when you're done. You know, like is what it is. Suchek against Endo. Endo is probably better than Suchek, but Suchek is like twice the size of him. Yeah, but Suchek is going to make Endo look like Madison, like on the ball, look like Erdegaard on the ball, look like Bruno Fernandes on the ball. Even Bruno Fernandes. Why am I even saying Bruno Fernandes? He's going to look like a number 10 on the ball. No, he don't. The whole team has been shit. Whole team, most of it. Yeah, to be fair, I agree. But I need to see, you know, for me, our best players. Like, well, I need to see other players come in for other players. You know, I need to see. I want to see Sole given a chance. I want to see our new signings be given a chance, pretty much, because I want to see something different, and I don't want to see Mavropanos anymore. But it's crazy when the ADL. Do you know what it is? I am probably part of the. I am probably one of the kings of the ADL, the Antonio Defense League, and I'm calling. Yeah, you are right. I am calling for him to be dropped. And the thing is, when I mean Antonio Defense, I can still judge. No interest in Sola, but still, we signed him. Let's try and play him, bro. We haven't seen anything of him, so let's try and give him a chance. Like, I want to see new players be given a chance because the current cropping ain't doing it right now. But I also think a lot of the current cropping play well because of the manager. For me, I've been keeping an eye on Sociedad results for obvious reasons, and I don't think again is doing great. Oh, really? Well, other than that, nothing surprised me. Even if it was, the thing is, it's kind of disappointing that he's not doing well because what's it called? We could have sold him for money. We could have kept the price up, you know, because we haven't sold him, you know, we just loaned him. Why would like this is the thing, bro? Like, I get you like Antonio. Listen, I love Antonio. I just don't think he's good for now. I think he could come off the bench, but I guess we don't have many other options there. I hear you if you're saying it like that, but he hasn't done well. He hasn't done well. He just out too far left, too far right. What if we got Duran? We still need to like play our options that we have. Sorry, let me go to the rest of your comments. So big up to everyone that's leaving their comments, and I appreciate it. Endo versus Suchek is like the two set 8 kids trying to figure out who's better. Jesus Christ. I like the look of Soler. I need to see more of him for me to even say anything. I'll be real. I'm the leader of the ADO officially, and I'd start him. Yeah, Kudus hasn't scored this season. My problem is with Kudus is that playing on the left. The thing is, if Kudus hasn't scored this season, should we drop him? For me, Kudus isn't performing as bad as Antonio is. I'm not looking at just goals. I'm looking at general performance. I'm not a stat merchant. Like, Bowen has scored 1 goal, but I don't think Bowen's performed well either. Maybe we need to have a conversation about Bowen, like not long term, but I'm just saying maybe for dropping him, maybe to put him on the side, give him a bit of a rest. I don't know, but I don't think the manager is using these attackers properly. Whereas with Antonio, I don't know if the manager's telling him to drift out wide. I don't know if he's doing that himself, but with Antonio, I just don't think he's controlling the ball well and pinning defenders. But then again, we are bad at coaching attacks. I think this manager's bad at coaching the attack. So maybe it's an attack thing. I don't know. At this point, I don't care. Yeah, right wing. This is the problem as well, though. I think the manager's putting him too far out wide. He needs to put him in the pockets and above. I hear you with that as well. But I think with Kudus, I don't like him on the left. I honestly thought again was doing well at West Ham until Mike's told me his shite. That's the thing. Don't believe the tacticos on Twitter, my guy. That guy, if you weigh above 50 kg and you're pinned on a ged, you're about to get absolutely floored. That's just my thing with him. He wasn't a great defender, and even on the ball, like don't get me wrong, he did get to thrive on the ball last season, but he just takes too long with the ball in general. That's my problem with Mavropanos as well. I'm keeping the same energy. I just say how I see it, in my opinion. I know a lot of people might disagree, but that's what opinions are for. Uh, he's played more minutes. The thing is, I can't even judge that he is this season, or just this year. I just think he's a two up front guy. What else? Has another good touch this season. Yeah, Bowen will give you. This is the thing. Bowen will give you a six. I do feel. I felt. Don't get me wrong. I felt sorry for Bowen this season so far. But maybe I do. Yes, I need him to step up as well. But I do think the manager's not giving him the best, instructions. I don't know why our fullback is underlapping for Jared Bowen to hug the touchline, but whatever. That seems to be a whole thing with his system, which I'm not a fan of. I'm not really a fan of the system. Until the ball gets into him, it's like he's trying to play hot potato every time. I'm just not been a fan of how he's performed this season. And this is me, who's, by the way, Antonio is my favorite West Ham player of all time. And people are going to be like, what? But I like him for what he's done for, what's it called? The club over the years. And the fact that he got us out of many situations under the Bilic and Pellegrini era where I'm like, well, no one else was turning up. And we needed him at the time. And I think he's done a lot well for the club. And I regard him as a legend. I know me and Charlie have disagreed on that before. But I like Antonio. I just think time is over. But I regard him as a legend for me. Anyone calling for another Ings? Like, that's the thing. I don't know who else we fucking start there whilst Fulkirk is injured. Because I don't want Bowen up front either. What's it called? We're about to disagree again. No, I know. I'm not gonna have the debate again because it's not gonna get anywhere. It's getting cooked versus preseason bums. The Morocco World Cup really sold a lot of dreams when it came to certain players. Again, Amrabat, etc. That Aged team, that Morocco team, I was really inspired by. Because the way they used to defend with Romain Saiss, Nayef Aged, and Amrabat, the way they were solid throughout them three, I thought, like, well done. Like, and this is the thing. Joy is international football does like do a madness when it comes to making players look better. Because like, think of the history of when teams have signed players based off international tournaments. It's not really worked that often. I don't know what it is, but I think it's because the passion for the country, they always, come out hiding. What's it called? Who we need? We're about to disagree again. I don't want to speak. Listen. I think people are too sentimental towards Pablo Fornals, but it used to piss me off because every time Pablo Fornals made a mistake, people used to use the nice guy tax on him, and because he's a passion merchant. I'm not saying he's a terrible footballer or anything, but it's every time the guy made a mistake, it just used to piss me off because I know he wouldn't get any criticism from. He's the goat. Fuck's sake, Charlie. Hold on. Yeah, I'm about to go. I remember Antonio dunking on us in 2016. I think you're one of the most scored opponents from Antonio. I think it's Tottenham, Liverpool, and Chelsea. And probably, I guess Norwich up there with the 4 goals that he scored against them. But I think Tottenham, Chelsea, and Liverpool are the games he likes to play the most. He loves a London derby. The guy is one of the biggest London derby big game players I've seen at West Ham in my lifetime. Him and Lanzini always turned up in London derbies, and for some reason against Liverpool, he just scored against Liverpool. Again, played in a 3 in Morocco, which is hiding his flaws. I remember him playing in a 3 at times. I know in the what's it called? The World Cup though, they did play a 4 most of the time, if I'm not mistaken. Because I remember Mazraoui and Hakimi, Aged and Saiss being the back 4. But sometimes it just works for certain things. Sometimes the players just look good in other things and they don't look good at our club. Sometimes it's just circumstance. Maybe it's just with him, it was just circumstance. But I wanted him to do well. I backed him. I gave him his first season, despite the fact that he was injured. But whatever. The Morocco team was unreal in that tournament, but it did fool people into thinking the likes of Again and Amrabat were good. That's the thing. I thought Amrabat was good at Fiorentina as well, so I was like, maybe he just wasn't good enough for Man United. But he's also got to like Fenerbahce now, so I guess that kind of says where he's at right now and what his stock is. Big up to the 10 people that are here. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Try to hit 1K before the end of the year. Arsenal are some disgusting club. They've got some disgusting fans. I'll tell you that for sure. He's the GOAT. The only one is Enzo that worked from international football, but some people would disagree. Yeah, Enzo was from international. Yeah, I forgot Enzo performed really well in that World Cup as well. And it said a lot because that was the World Cup winning team, isn't it? So, to be fair, that's one of the few recent years. If the Rodri injury was tactical, then Arteta needs some questioning. I don't even know. But to be fair, the reason why I'll go with this is, I guess, I get it was before my time as well, but a lot of the tactics from 10, 20 years ago was just go and kick a bunch of shit. Just go and kick the shit. Pardon me. Kick the shit out of people. That's tactics. So, I don't know. Random question, but why did Dimitri Payet end up declining after that first season at West Ham? He wanted to go back home. With his family. We should have really addressed the situation in the summer, but Sullivan kept trying to give him a new contract every 6 months. And then he was like, okay, my family are unsettled here. And he had other issues as well. So you're just like, I've had enough sort of thing and needed to move back home for his family sort of thing. But the problem I have is the way he left was because he refused to train and do all of that stuff as well. And he should have didn't waste our time when it came to the summer. But part of me, that will never ever sit right with me the way he left, but whatever. But yeah, that's why he left. Like his family weren't happy with being in England. He needs to move back to France. That's why he didn't go to a bigger club. Well, he went obviously Marseille bigger than West Ham, but like didn't go to like the next level of like going to a higher Premier League club or Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, whatever. He was never going to go to PSG because of Marseille. But you know what I'm trying to say. That's why he went straight back to Marseille. I take Lanzini as he is right now in this team. I would take Prime Lanzini. I think Prime Lanzini would. Well, to be fair, I think the manager's the problem. But Lanzini without that injury, man, that's the biggest one of the biggest what ifs at West Ham. Like West Ham fans in the chat, and even at your clubs, what's the biggest what if at your club? For me, it's what if Ravel Morrison. Like Ravel Morrison's one of the biggest what ifs ever because that's the best footballer that I've seen. Like at West Ham, naturally gifted. But Lanzini's up there as well. Didn't Lanzini score recently in the big game in Argentina? He scored against Boca Juniors, I think, for River Plate. I saw that goal the other day. Yeah, I think he did. He scored a big goal there, but he's still doing it. Credit to him, man. I do miss him, but gotta move on. God, I miss Payet. I miss that 15-16 season in general. James Ward-Prowse, 4 even Benny to a certain degree are all better suited to 10s in the PL. They don't have the physicality to play anywhere else. I just don't think Ben Rama was a good enough footballer in general for me. I don't think he was creative enough to play the number 10. I think he was too inconsistent with his shots. I wanted him to do well. I have a Ben Rama shirt with the white and blue away kit. I have Ben Rama on the back of that shirt because I believed in him. That was one of the biggest mistakes. And to be fair, I keep making mistakes with putting players on the back of my shirts, but it is what it is. But I don't think Ben Rama at Fornals used to piss me off when they both used to play on the left, on the centre, on the left, on the centre. Neither of them for me were good enough. I do agree with you with Fornals. So Fornals is a 10. Ward-Prowse, that's why he played as such an advanced 8 for Southampton under Hasenhuttl, I guess. But he just wasn't, for me, he wasn't a number 10. He's not creative enough or good enough on the ball to be a number 10. I think he's only good enough from half space positions. I don't want to use the word half space, but you know what I mean. Benfica, scammers. What are Benfica doing? I'm developing a soft spot for Arsenal. I like Calafiori and Timber. I think they're good players, but I'll never develop a soft spot. Arsenal maybe want to punch them in the face all the time. There's only one man who can save our season. Someone called Big Sam. You're taking the fucking piss. The reason I think is because the Havertz barge in the face at the start of the game was disgraceful and a knee jarring by Partey seems suspicious. Maybe. We can never be so sure, but yeah. Did Roy Keane make a career of kicking the fuck out of players? I think a lot of the older people that watch that era of football tell me he was still a very good technical player, but his kind of image kind of doesn't really help him with people like us that didn't get to watch him. I don't know how old you are, Jonathan, but I'm 21, so I didn't get to watch Roy Keane. So, Arsenal fans would never allow me to like that team, but I love Big Dick Deckers. I like Declan Rice still, but I always take the piss out of him because he's at Arsenal. I'd still like him, but I will constantly take the piss out of him. Playing Calafiori and Timber, two fullbacks was like said about like profiles going to benefit Arsenal this season on set pieces. Oh, for sure, because they've always tried to work on that height. That's why I don't remember the last team that scored a set piece against Arsenal. What if Lopetegui wasn't an idiot? Do you know what? That is a great what if. Slowly, Reece James is becoming a what if player. I kind of agree. If he keeps getting injured for the next season, I'd say. I think he is. Not gonna lie. I think he's certainly like the thing is he always comes back the same player, but it's only so much of an amount of time where you can constantly get injured in your hamstring and come back as the same player. And it's also because the amount of running he's going to have to do as a natural fullback in general is not going to help his hamstring injuries. A very talented player for sure. Probably Chelsea's best player when fully fit. But yeah, those horse comments about Reece James, I haven't seen it. What horse comments? Yeah, Reece James is a massive what if when he's fully fit, he's the best right back in the world. I think I agree, you know. I think I agree. What if Villa had held on to that 2-goal lead at Etihad? Probably would have won the quadruple, in my opinion. Oh yeah. Steven Gerrard. Imagine if Steven Gerrard actually dunked on Manchester City. Like, imagine, like, oh man, that was like too destined. That was too good to be true. But that Steven Gerrard ability, they did not know how to see out a game like that, because I had sort of kind of believed a little bit when Gerrard was playing all the creative players, and then when the next season happened and he had that pre-season with that Villa team, he just stifled every little bit of greatness that they had in terms of the technical players. Like Douglas Luiz, I always rated Douglas Luiz, but he went up a level, and Unai Emery really showed the levels of what Douglas Luiz is, you know. What if Virgil didn't get that injury? I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still the best in the world, but he's not the level he was pre-injury. Pre-injury, Virgil was an all-time level. Do you know what's the funny thing? It says so much about how good Virgil van Dijk is as a player that we're looking at him as a what if with how good he is now, and we're thinking that he could have still kept. Obviously, he probably would have kept the levels without the injury when, like, if he didn't get injured. That's how good Virgil van Dijk still is. And for me, he's still the best centre back in the Premier League. I know some people may say one of the Arsenal too, but I'd still say Virgil van Dijk. But that's not biased or anything, like generally, because I think Gabriel and Saliba are sick. But I just think Virgil van Dijk still can play at a world class level, and I rank Canate as well. Hold on, Mr. Whippy ended Liverpool streams. I'm certain to this day that if we had won the league that day, we'd have beaten Madrid in the final the next week. I think you still would have lost the Champions League, in my opinion. But I can see where you're thinking that, because that could have taken a big steamer out when you guys lost the league. But I feel like the players kind of left that behind them going into Champions. I just think you guys didn't offer enough in the Champions League final. I just think your winger, well, not even your winger, it's your left winger. I think it was Diaz at the time. He got absolutely pocketed by Carvajal. I think I put Carvajal as my man of the match for that day. And leaving Valverde and Vinicius on the counter attack. Valverde in that Champions League campaign, by the way, what a player. He was like, I remember someone saying Valverde was the 5th defender, 4th midfielder, and the 3rd attacker for Real Madrid. That is how much ground he covered for on the ball and off the ball, because his drive with the ball, he just went so much forward with the ball and had the ability just to keep it with his ball retention. Oh, you're a prick. Gerrard unbottling uncomfortable conversations. I'm a City fan, guys. Is Walker washed? Oh, bro, this guy was washed from last season. The guy had one of the worst seasons I've seen from a right back in a while, with England and Man City throughout the whole year, because he was giving away a lot of chances for City and getting absolutely done up by Raheem Sterling in both the Chelsea games, and that was just terrible at the time, because Sterling versus Walker, that could have been, you know, better than people thought. Like, that's usually a tighter battle. But Walker showed the levels last season that he wasn't good enough, and he shouldn't have been starting for Man City or England. To be honest, I think he should have left the football before the football left him, to quote Carragher. Gerrard on Coutinho. Coutinho scored as well. He did. Walker's worse than Soufal. I wouldn't go that far. It's so bad that people compare Saliba to him. Van Dijk is top 3 centre backs in Premier League history. Do you know what? You can't even argue with that. Like he's definitely top three. The top three that I've seen anyway. Top three that I've seen, obviously, John Terry, Van Dijk, and Rio Ferdinand, probably the best three that I've seen. Obviously, I didn't watch Tony Adams. I didn't watch Sol Campbell. You know, I feel like we would have taken the momentum of winning the league into the final, knowing we could win the quadruple as well. I can see that. I just think Real Madrid were just too good on it. Like it was just too. It was just too destined. Not even too good actually. They were just too inevitable. Because they remember that Champions League campaign when they came up against Chelsea, City, and PSG. They just managed to find a way. I just feel like no matter what, they were always going to find a way. And that was about Ancelotti, one eyebrow raise, and you're done out here. Did anyone see Haaland throw the ball at Gabriel's head? Taking the absolute piss. I fucking love it, Damien. I love it. And after the game, he went up to Arteta and was like, stay humble. Stay humble. Bro, like the way Arteta was looking at him, he was thinking, do I argue back and fall for this? Then he was like, no, let me be the manager. Jesus, go. Ben White, go. Jesus was trying to square up to Haaland. Haaland was like, fuck off, you fucking clown. I love that from Haaland. He's one of the biggest names in football right now, and he's one of the best characters. That's what I love about him. He doesn't just go into like typical robot mode like he is on the pitch. He's just, I love how much of a prick he is. Wait, I think I missed one of your comments actually. No, actually, no, I didn't. Wait, hold on. No, I didn't. Okay. Cruz was playing as a third centre back at times. He was playing as a third centre back at times. It was weird because I remember when Casemiro, Modric, and Cruz midfield worked so well because Cruz and Modric would just pick up the ball from midfield, go past Casemiro. Casemiro didn't need to touch the ball in possession. When they're off the ball, so hard to beat. Casemiro there, bang, and they had the cover. And he knew when to get a yellow card, and he knew that Real Madrid kind of get away with more things than others. So when he's on a yellow card, he can still make tactical fouls because no one's sending Casemiro off. Yeah, that final we weren't good enough. Robo's dumb pressing let Valverde in, and Trent Paul went us at the back post. Courtois made saves, but he only made 2 saves, which I look at and say unreal. Yeah, Courtois as well. Like, bro, that guy's cheating. I'm convinced that guy's cheating because he's too hard to beat in a goal. Pause. Like, he's too hard to like actually get a shot past because the guy's just covering the whole goal, and you can't get a shot past him. You can't. He's just covered the whole goal, and no matter how the shot goes in, he's always just reflexing like, yeah, get the ball out of here. The guy's unreal. The guy's been unreal for years. Thiago is a massive what if for Liverpool. Yeah, that's true as well because that guy, on his day, man, he was just unreal. That signing made so much sense at the time. I just wonder what it could have been if he didn't get injured so much as well. Like the way he used to ping the footballs and just control the game, control the tempo of each game. What a player, man. Sol can't be in that club because he's a scumbag. No, I respect. That's the biggest thing I respect him for is dumping out Tottenham like that. City don't respect Arsenal at all. It's hilarious. And I respect that for sure. Liverpool sailor Coutinho at Barca was one of the best sales in football history. He was becoming surplus in that side because before Klopp sold him. I agree, man. I agree. That was a great sale. And they invested Jesus Christ. Invested the money really well coming from that. Ben White acted like he was going to do something. Yeah, bro. You're from Brighton, lad. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not... I shouldn't say that. Arsenal fans screaming they rattled City when the only people rattled I've seen are the Arsenal fans. That's the thing. The only people that I've seen rattled are the Arsenal fans. The only people I've seen is... With Arsenal fans, it's like, I'm so proud of the boys. I'm proud of the boys for getting over the line. No, you really just can't take the pressure of rival fans poking fun at you. I'm proud of the boys. That copium, you know that mask, that meme of the mask where it's like a smile in the front, but really the guy is upset behind that mask. That is Arsenal fans. Arsenal's whole narrative of City could break down a 10-man Arsenal like they didn't have every player in their box is so jarring too. Like, yeah. Like, City didn't do enough, to be fair. Like, I don't know what they were doing when Arsenal had 10 players in the box. Just kept passing to Ruben Diaz on the edge of the box. Just very annoying. Ben White is going to be touching bench this season. They've got competition now. As I mentioned earlier, I'm just not sure Arteta's good at managing minutes when it comes to rotating players. That's one of my main criticisms of Arteta, if I'm looking at it from a neutral perspective. He's always trying to meme mug. Yeah, Ben White is like, I don't know. I don't know. He's like, it's very hard to understand as a character. I need us to sign Zubimendi in January. I need to see Crab Zubimendi together for my own joy. I've never been more gassed about a signing than Thiago. Honestly, when I thought you guys were going to win the league again. I'm pretty sure I did predict Liverpool to win the league. I wasn't on YouTube at this time, but I'm pretty sure I predicted Liverpool to win the league back to back because Liverpool signed Thiago, and then the Van Dijk injury happened, and then the whole centre back crisis happened. Fam, I can't believe at the time Ozan Kabak and Nathaniel Phillips, was it Nathaniel Phillips, were playing for Liverpool like as centre back pairing at the time? Like that was a mad. Lockdown was shit. Yeah, I hated lockdown because I was inside my house. I like being outside, but I enjoyed watching the football at the time because it was just mad. It was just mad results. It was that Leicester 3-1 Liverpool, that Chelsea 2 West Brom 5, the Tottenham 3 West Ham 3. Unfortunately, we drew 3-3 to Arsenal as well. But those were some of the most mad games. I don't even know if it was fans, that lack of fans that played a part in it, but it was just nuts. Like Sam Allardyce came to West Brom, yeah, I probably needed more time because he actually got a bit of a tune out of them. And they beat even Chelsea like they were down to 10 men, but 5-2 with Callum Robinson and Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Conor Gallagher on loan and Mateus Pereira. What a weird squad. Grady Diangana, dare I say. Leicester beat City 5-2. Yeah, Villa beat Liverpool 7-2. Man United 6. Man United lost 6-1 to Tottenham. They beat Southampton 9-0. Mental season. They love their Kool-Aid, bro. They are kings of the Kool-Aid. They are regular drinkers of the Kool-Aid. It is crazy. When we signed Thiago, I thought we'd dominate. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, don't get me wrong, I didn't think City would go too long without winning the league, but I just thought Liverpool were going to do it again. But I guess it wasn't meant to be. Pep tried to give Arsenal the win. Honestly, like, borderline, yeah. Borderline. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Pep made good subs, but one of the worst changes he made in that game was Bernardo Silva on the right because Jesus was tackling at him from left back. Jesus was the best left back on the pitch yesterday. That Virgil injury ruined everything. Oh, for sure. Reece Williams did play as well. I forgot about Reece Williams. I don't know where Reece Williams is now. That guy is job centre, maybe. Bernardo hasn't been great for a while, in my opinion. Bernardo, when I watch him start this season in the middle, I think he's been decent. Whenever I see him start on the right wing and they're chasing the game, I'm thinking, why is he playing here? When they're controlling a game and he plays on the right wing, it's different. Because I've seen the guy like just weave around left backs by being a midfielder at right wing. But when he's in the centre, he looks like a whole different player. I think he actually started the game quite well when City scored, but from then when he moved out to the wide, when he moved out wide to chase the game, I was like, the thing City need right now is pace and directness. And Bernardo Silva is just a guy who's just going to keep dribbling and passing sideways because he's a midfielder. I moved to Australia in lockdown and had to spend 2 weeks in Sydney hotel with no windows that would open. Fucking hell. You pretty much spent your time those 2 weeks in the fucking basement. Bernardo hasn't been great for a while, in my opinion. Oh yeah, I just read that. Sorry, he's on loan at some League One club. Okay, that makes sense. That's kind of his level, in my opinion. The game was calling for Foden and Grealish sooner. And yeah, to be fair, as much as I don't think Foden did anything, Grealish, that short corner. I think, did we all have the same reaction, by the way, when Grealish took that short corner? Like, why are you taking a short corner? Then all of a sudden they just caught Arsenal out because Arsenal weren't switched on. Like, I had the reaction of, why have you taken a short corner? Why? Because they needed something else. Then again, a delivery in a box maybe wouldn't have helped at the time either because Arsenal have such a tall squad and they don't really lose aerially. So maybe there's that as well. Maybe they thought, we're not going to beat them aerially. We're just going to beat them by just trying to make luck of it as his own and keep pushing on. Savinho looks good, very comfortable with both feet. That guy's a baller. Like I only watched Girona once, and that was against Real Madrid, and I don't even remember if he played the game, so I can't even really say. What's it called? How he played in that game. But when I've watched him in the Premier League so far, that guy settled in so quick. And he looks like City's best winger. I just can't remember the time. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's going to do for the rest of the season. Bernardo was awful last year. Yeah, last year, definitely awful. I think City signed Bruno G in January. They love him and I'll have a reason to pay the money for him. I just don't think Newcastle are going to sell him mid-season. And I think it'll be hard to get him over the line, regardless whether it was even if it was a mid-season, I think they'd struggle to sign him in general. Excuse me. Okay. I need to turn my headphones on. Hold on. Sorry, my headphones were bugging out. Let me just check my mic settings. Okay, everything's good. Yeah, Joy, the Grealish short corner was smart. It's just initially when he passed it, when he passed the ball, I was like, why are you taking a short corner? But when you really look at it, I looked back straight at the replay. I was like, oh my God, he's caught them up because the Arsenal players were celebrating. I'm pretty sure the Arsenal players thought they had won the game at that current moment in time. So, I don't know. I was going to take a week off YouTube if Arsenal won. I can't take a week off YouTube. Well, I can because like this is more. I have more to my life than this, but I wouldn't have wanted to do the live stream yesterday if Arsenal had won. I was dreading doing the stream because I would have had to reluctantly give Arsenal credit. I agree, Jonathan. I completely agree with you. I don't think they will. I think they're just going to stick with what they have because I think the reason why City haven't bought any players is not because of the charges or anything. Because, what's it called? They're just happy with what they got. They think we don't need to. I don't know whether. Wait, you know Charlie's not an Arsenal fan, right? Damien. What's it called? Yeah, Charlie's a West Ham fan. People don't realise Zubimendi actually said yes to Liverpool. Sociedad then spent days trying to persuade him to change his mind. Eventually, they emotionally guilt-tripped him into staying. I don't really know. Oh, Charlie. Oh yeah. Charlie's a West Ham fan. I hope your next fight is a shit. Fuck's sake, man, that caught me off guard. I thought Charlie was an Arsenal fan. Charlie hates Arsenal, bro. Charlie hates Arsenal. Oh my days. I saw that he's open to leaving because Sociedad haven't lived up to the contracts they promised or something. I'll be real, I don't know too much about it. I have no idea. I have no idea. But it's going to be interesting to see if Zubimendi does stay for much longer and whether he can be convinced to a Premier League move at his current. Maybe not in January. I don't think he'll leave in January, but maybe next summer, where Sociedad might be happy to see him go. Maybe they could get more money for him because was it originally a 51 million release clause, and then they could up it, no, if they signed a new deal. But also, for some reason, players in Spain have to pay their own release clause. I don't know why that's a rule, but I remember Neymar having to do the same for when he moved to PSG. So yeah, I remember that as well. Okay, guys, we've gone on for an hour 23. I didn't expect to go on for this long, but I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys sticking by, keeping the comments flowing. Guys, be there for the Liverpool preview. I'm going to have Liverpool versus West Ham United preview tomorrow. We're going to preview how we're going to lose the game and why we're going to lose the game, and why Lopetegui is going to bottle it and pick the wrong starting 11 once again and probably put some of our best players on the bench. But make sure to join me for that. I'll have the Liverpool, Lopetegui, exactly. Joe, that's the new one. Maybe I might change the name to Surviving Lopetegui. I'll have the Liverpool match reaction at 10 p.m. on Wednesday. I'm gonna have the match. I was originally gonna have the Brentford match preview on Friday, on Thursday, not Friday, but I changed it to Friday because I know I'm gonna have 2 streams to do. I think I'm gonna be on Nip and Shadow, and I think I'm gonna be on Joey's channel as well. Fuck's sake. Man. But yeah, big up to everyone, all the regulars as usual. And make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. On the road to 1K subscribers. Social medias are in the description if you want to follow me, and the email for the inquiries